What's it like in the schools these days, bro?
In terms of what? Behavior, attitude, sex, what?
Oh yeah, there's sex. I forgot that.
Well, that's not saying that. Yeah, secondary.
Them kids are wild.
How bad is it in terms of sex then?
It's scary.
Do they have sex?
Do.
Wow.
Fuck.
Do. Me and Chucky had a conversation, and the things I was showing him, he looked at me like, nah, no way. Nah, don't be. It's going back to what we were saying before about being desensitized.
Yeah.
A lot of what's happening now in schools, I don't even think they realize it's inappropriate. I don't even think they realize it's bad, because to them it's just normal. When we were growing up, there were the loose girl in school, and then were the good girls in school. There's a quite simple divide between the two, and then the ones in the middle that had boyfriends, girlfriends, that was it. Now, even the good girls are making mistakes that are critical to their high school education. Because a good girl might go out with one of the cool boys or one of the guys from the football team or the basketball team, and he might say to her, send me some pictures. And she'll be like, well, he's my boyfriend. So, okay, cool. Bam!
That's mad.
And then what's he going to do? Man them! Check this out. And then it's around the whole school. And then I got to have a conversation with her mum saying, unfortunately, there's been an incident at school today whereby blah, 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 or rare, tear. It's peak.
Serious. So you like literally in schools at the moment, you're getting situations where like almost like a picture goes viral in school, like everyone starts to see the naked picture of the gal.
That's 100%. But that's one of the reasons why that whole revenge porn law came out, is because young bucks were going out there getting a one picture of a girl, and then he would say, right, you got to do this with me, or I'm going to send it around the school. And then she would. And then say, right, you got to do this with my bridges now, otherwise I'm going to send it around the school. Is that
what they're doing, blood?
That's one of the reasons why that stuff came out. I've worked in several schools, and I started off like Poe did with community work.
Yeah.
And that stuff will wake you up real quick. Some of the stuff that these youths are on now, it's mad.
What?
Some of the all right, for example, if a student comes and says to me, so-and-so was filming me, I then have to go through that person's phone to delete the footage. But the stuff I see in the phone,
when you're going through it,
and some of the youths are giggling, said don't go back. I'm like, but you not even doing your GCSEs yet. You're on this much crud so young.
What age is it going down to?
Wow.
And the 3 schools that I've worked in, you generally start seeing stuff pop up. But the key moment is between 8 and 9. Year 8 and year 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's when I was doing that year 8 and 9.
There's what you're doing, but what people are exposed to are two different things. When we were in school, same things were happening, but not everybody was on that. Not everybody was about that.
I don't feel in my school it was crazy.
No, and I'm only talking about the schools that I've been in. Do you understand?
My school's an exception, bro.
So some of the stuff that you should doing, like I didn't know nothing about threesome when I was in school.
Didn't you?
No.
Nah, see, I knew about threesomes and stuff, but you know it is
not when I was 13.
Yeah, I
hear that. I hear
no,
that.
When I say new, I don't mean new. Actively doing.
Yeah, my brethren were
not
on
me.
That.
Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah,
not
my
me,
brethren
man.
were on that. Year 8, year 9, they were white. My school was under investigation. Though we're in the evening.
Not when you're filming it and they're doing balloons and someone's got Hennessy in them.
These kids are wilding. Like, you got
exactly.
Everyone has that.
Who said they treated it like?
Listen,
treated it like audio whore.
I'm glad.
These youths are out there like it's they're out.
Listen,
like it's audio
they
whore.
are out there.
Festival.
They're out
it's like
there.
they're raving to hot stepper in them, man. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Balloons.
Yeah, they're out there.
Mad,
because that's what they think. That's what they think. What you need to do in order to be a big person, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need to have some drink. You need to have some balloons. Someone's got a 3 yard. Then tutu just all over the Snapchat. Jeez.
That's why we got to start celebrating the people in the library, fam.
Yeah, I hear that, innit? Trust me.
Is
there still a library in your school?
Yeah. I mean, there was talk about phasing out libraries, but
yeah.
What?
Come on.
We need
Phase them
ones.
out.
No. Seriously, because I saw the argument, but I didn't agree with it. Because of the evolution of smartphones and all the rest of it, a lot of kids will be in lessons and write down your homework. Take out their phone, take a picture of the homework, Google stuff, search stuff. So a lot less kids are going to the library. Okay. So there was an argument: should we get rid of libraries or not? But then we thought,
I see my little brother.
But then you thought about there are lots of people who still do go to.
So you're allowed your phone in school.
Some schools, yes. Some schools, no.
I don't agree with that though at all in any capacity.
In
I
what?
don't even see the understanding for it, because if the process of education, at the hardest point, you have to go to the library, then the library should be everywhere. Because it's common practice. When you get to university, you have no choice. You can have phone with camera. Your phone can take you to Japan. You need to go to the library.
I think
so to get rid
smartphones
of
should be illegal for under 16s, but that's a whole new conversation.
I don't even.
Everyone's just going to Google or whatever it is for, like, the
Everything.
result. Yeah.
Everything.
But
The
you need to go
answer.
to the library. In university, if you're doing dissertation, you have to go to the
Go
library.
to the library.
So to get rid of it in school just doesn't even make sense. And so you're going to introduce the man to the library then.
But if a lot less are going to the library, then what happens then?
No. Just because a lot less are going doesn't mean that the numbers of people not going as high than the number of people that are attending. It's just the evolution of the world with technology.
Yeah.
So some people can do their research at home. Some people are not allowed to travel to the library. Some people may live in an area where getting to libraries peak. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's a case of some kids will go to the library because it's quiet.
Yeah.
They can be themselves. They can read a book. They can read several books. They can
Or
feel
they can use the internet.
at home.
Because a lot of the time in libraries now, there's internet in the library now.
Admittedly, but I'll give you an example. You go into the library and them and there are hovering around the computer chatting to gal. What do you do? Do you leave or do you go and hold a corner in the other side of the library where no one's going to go and just read your book? And that's what some of them do. Just go in there and read their book. Some, because I've worked in sixth form as well. Some kids won't do their work in class because there's too much chatting, too much finessing. Just go and jam in the library and do their work. Like I see good kids taking a table out of the classroom and sitting in the corridor because there's less hype in the corridor. Imagine this: there's less hype in the corridor than there is in the classroom.
That's the school's fault, fam. Real life.
So you're in the corridor doing your work because the classroom's too loud. How does that make any sense?
That's the teacher's fault, fam.
Yeah.
I remember that, to be honest, as well.
So do I. It was our teacher's fault, fam. They gave us so much freedom.
But that comes down to classroom management. Yeah. And one thing I've noticed about education, whether it be primary school, high school, college, sixth form, is that you can be a great teacher, but if you have no classroom management, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
So what normally happens is the teachers that are good at teaching the subjects but have zero classroom management, they end up going to a high age group. Because normally, by the time you get to sixth form or college, you know what you want to do and you know why you're there.
Yeah, by choice.
But they won't put you in the dojo and put you with the year 8s and the year 9s who don't want to listen to you, that think you're an idiot. And we're trying to cover this today, and we're trying to. The kids don't want to listen to them.
That ain't their fault, though, man. Again, I don't understand.
It's not their fault, but it's classroom management. You need to be a strong personality in there.
Yeah, but this is what's so mad. This is what I don't get this world. I just need to hurry up and die, fam. I'm so fed up with this planet, man. Seriously. How can you go to work in communities and work in schools, but they never give you the opportunity of learning that in the educational process? You're given all this information, and then you're said, all right, just go and teach it to people now. Like, what the fuck is that? I remember when we were in school, we had some girl from Cheshire come down to fucking Hornsey to teach Tottenham boys, Wood Green boys, Hackney boys. Like, she didn't know what, she was so out of her depth. When she's there, a man is saying your blood clot. She's blood clot. Who's got a blood clot? You're like, yo.
So when teachers are going through teachers training and stuff like that, do they not teach them these things?
Generally,
do they not teach classroom etiquette and all of that stuff?
Our teacher told us that she's.
like
Do you know what it is?
I'm asking a question.
I'm going to be real with you. There are good teachers, there are great teachers, and there are just teachers. There are some teachers that will go to school with a passion to teach, and they will knock heads with certain students to make sure that at some point you'll understand that I'm here to help you, not to hinder you. And then there's some that with any other job, it's just a paycheck.
Yeah, but they don't have people skills.
They will go in there and nobody likes them, and they don't care.
Do they not teach teachers
how to to manage?
Yeah.
Well, some of them they will, and some of them they won't. Like,
how do you teach that?
All right, let me give you an example.
Well, this is
hold on.
That's ultimately the point that I'm getting at, because then I don't understand. Like,
I'm not saying I agree with it.
No, I'm not. I know you're not saying that, but I'm just trying to figure out what the solution is to that, because we, on one hand, we say, you know what, like, the teachers need to learn, or they need to know how to have like classroom etiquette and know how to handle these kids in the classroom. But then how do you teach it?
It's like this, Chucky, for me, this is what I don't understand. So say, for example, there's an area that are bad. You'll get a special police unit that will be around there, which are trained specifically to deal with that situation. So if you've got a teacher who is from a middle class area and only works within that parameter, if she's going to go to a working class area, the hood, to interact with people she's never interacted with for 25, 26 years of her life, why is she not be given the opportunity prior to this to have some type of way where she learns how to live within that environment? So when she goes to teach the students, she understands how to get that message
You have to. So you're saying to live with it.
No,
You have to
live within that
it.
environment. She doesn't need to live there. She needs to find out. They need
Experience
to
it.
experience it. So she knows how to talk to Desmond from Hackney, London Fields, is different on how to talk to
Peter.
Johnny from Peterborough. Like, that is such an important skill.
I agree
It's
with
such
that.
an
I just
important
don't know
skill.
if that is like. I just don't know if that's the solution. Though.
No, that's a very important thing. Because like I said to you,
It helps.
Of
in
course,
the
it's
community,
massive.
I
But I
know,
just think
Chucky, if I walk around with you in West London, man rate you, man respect you off the strength of the respect they have for you, the way they look at you, the way they recognize you. They look at you as one of them. So when you told them not to do something, they know it's coming from a place of love. They'll be like, you know, out of respect, I ain't going to do that. When I was in school, cuz I'll be real with you, unless it was somebody I recognized within the life that I had been living, some posh person could have come up to me and told me not to. Like, who are you? Like, even the way they
I
spoke
hear
to
that,
me
but then
is mad.
isn't the like even then,
Yeah.
there's a problem within that, because then like in some way, then it's like, you know what, how do you teach a youth who may not know, who may not be around a particular person, that you still have to respect them the same way that you would respect someone?
But that's not the youth's problem. Do you not understand? You've given your role yourself as a teacher. Your job is to get a message to a group of students.
Yeah.
You have to deliver that. If you're not able to do your job, it ain't the
Yeah,
student's
but
fault.
you're
It's you.
ultimately saying that like the only way that you would have respected a teacher is if.
That's me though. I'm a rare commodity in life. I do not feel like I'm going to have.
No, but
a
I
shared
don't think you.
consensus.
I understand that. I do. You are like different in a great way, in a different way. But like, I'm sure that there's loads of kids that would probably feel that same way too. You're naturally gonna probably
Fuck with
you
someone
might
you
fuck with
fuck
someone who's a little bit, but then it's almost sending the wrong message if all you do. Let's just say, for example, you use that logic, and you had in every school you had a teacher that was almost familiar in whether they look the same or whatever it may be. They might have come from the same place or whatnot. What happens then when they go out into the world and they encounter people that are not like them?
That's what I'm saying to you. You need to be able to adapt. Like, they can't just
Yeah, but
throw
then
you
the-
in a deep end though. Like, I think
But that's,
that's
with
unfair
that,
on everyone.
that becomes the pupil though. That doesn't become the teacher.
The point I'm
Does
trying
that-
to make.
do you get what I'm saying?
I see where you're coming from, but I feel like, just so I can articulate it so you understand fully where I'm coming from, I just think before you go into a certain environment, you need to have an understanding of that environment. You don't necessarily need to dress the part and look the part.
Do your Googles.
One of my best teachers was Mr. Kenwood. This guy was a middle class white guy from Oxford, fam, and we spoke about Arsenal. He took blood. He encouraged me and inspired me to do so much. He didn't look like me, nothing like me. He's an Arsenal fan, went to the games every Saturday, and that was the way we spoke. And he was able to talk to the whole class just because he has an understanding of us. So you need to communicate with us.
Yeah, but
I
he
just
didn't
feel
come
like
from where you came from.
he didn't
though.
come from where I come
Well, that's
from.
the
but,
point, that's my
and
point.
But I'm saying to you, I reckon in some capacity, he's bumped heads with someone or a group of people
Oh,
similar
I get
like
you, I
us.
get
So
you.
now
Possibly,
I
he
get
knows
you.
how to
but
communicate
maybe
with us.
he's got the
Maybe-
gift though.
Or maybe he has got the gift, but I feel
Some-
like
some
that's
have
a
it, some
confidence.
don't.
Yes, exactly.
But if
Some
you
have it
haven't
and some
got it,
don't.
you shouldn't be given that role. It's unfair on you. It's unfair on the students. It's doing everyone an injustice.
Then how much? Like, I hear that, and you're probably right. But then how much people do have it? And then if you do that, if you say that, if we go by percentages, you're probably going to say that more don't than do. And then if you take them all away, then how much
What's
teachers
left?
do you have in school?
Well, why don't we change the way in which we educate these teachers so they can all have it?
Well, that's
So-
what I'm trying
The
to
first
ask.
thing they
That's
gotta
why
do
I'm
is
asking
find
the
their
question.
niche.
What do they do? Because I'm not going to make an assumption that they don't do it or they do it. I'm trying to find out, what do they do?
Whatever they
do
do,
they
it
teach?
ain't
Do they
effective.
teach that? I would have thought that they did. If I had to take an educated guess, I would have thought that, especially in this day and age, that like sitting that like no matter how confident you are, yeah, it must be a bit daunting when you first go into a class, right? And there's 30 kids in front of you and they're just waiting. Like, because look, you got to understand this. The first 2 minutes is everything.
Oh God!
If you lose it in 2 minutes, it's done. It's like chirps and a gal. It's literally like chirps and a gal. It's like you have 10 or 15 seconds
Impress.
to say
Put
something.
your- put your
Otherwise,
point
you've lost
across.
that. And it's the same with the youths. Do you know what? Yeah, that's what I have to say. Yeah, I don't even know if I told you. I think I did. But you're amazing with youths. Because when we had the kids here to do the thing, like Poet just came in and just bam. And then straight away, I could see instantly they were
They can see the
completely
weakness. They
engaged.
can see the weakness.
Yeah,
early.
they were completely engaged. But like, although I know that you did community stuff and you know and you understand it and you come from a certain place here, but I do to a degree feel that is a gift as well.
Okay.
And I do feel that you
have to
can't
love
just
what you
teach
do.
that with everyone.
No, you can't.
You can't just teach that with everyone.
Well,
There's
there's
just something that's just different about being able to do something like that.
Then
You
don't
get me?
take that job.
Yeah, I hear that.
Alright.
Don't take the job, but then what happens?
Chucky,
What
bouncing
happens?
off
'Cause
what.
there's loads of people out there that still want to teach and they still want to help. They might not have that gift though. So then what
But you
happens?
might have
Don't-
it somewhere else. Just because you've qualified to teach in a high school doesn't mean that high school is your niche. You might be more of a primary school teacher.
Yeah, I hear
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
You might be in high school and you think, you know, I can't deal with these youths. Let me work in further education. Let me work in sixth form or college or university because I can have a conversation and a dialogue with some of these people. It's about finding your niche. And even then, there are still some people that they shouldn't be teaching.
Yeah,
But then there's loads of people in jobs that they might not necessarily need to be in that job. But at the end of the day, money have to make. So unless someone...
Nah, we
to-
can't think like that.
No,
man.
you're right. We can't think like that. But I'm telling you that some people do.
I know people do.
And
100%.
it's unfortunate, but I feel like I'm in a privileged position that I can talk to some of these youths and show them that not everyone's gonna care about you.
Yeah,
I do though.
I also heard when I was listening to LBC last year that they were saying that less people are applying to be teachers. So then what happens then?
What the weirdest thing that's happening now? I'm actually starting to notice that.
I'm not.
No. I'm saying
expecting you to, I'm just
no.
saying.
Within the education system and the schools that I've been in, I'm noticing that more ex-students are now becoming teachers.
Okay.
Now, when I was an ex-student who became a member of staff in my old school, and it was a weird sort of crossover because I'm sitting at the table in the staff room with teachers that told me I was never going to amount to anything, and now I'm sitting in the same staff room with them and they're asking me for advice. That was a bit of a daunting task to go through, but I'm proud I went through it.
You should rap so you can say that. That would be sick. No, I'm teaching my teachers.
But
never said that like
but
to me.
when I started that, I'm now seeing other kids that I taught,
Yeah.
or when I say teach, but I mean like helped on their journey.
Yeah.
Now working, and I was like, how come you're here? And I says, you know what? I felt like I could give something back because when I was in the education system, we only had you. But what about the girls? What about the people that don't connect with you? Because I don't have all the answers. Just because I'm black don't mean that I'm going to connect with all the black youths. Some of them can't stand me. Some of them do. I might connect with the white youth or the Asian youth better than I'll connect. But I'm here to try and connect with as many people as possible. It's not going to be successful every time, but I'm going to keep trying. And I'm proud that I can see some of them coming back and giving back into something that they took so much out of.
Yeah.
And those are the things that are not highlighted as much. It's just, well, he got excluded. He's now in jail. The amount of times you say, oh, so-and-so used to go here back in 2000, whatever. Yeah, he's in
jail.
prison for 25. But what about the ones that are doing stuff? Yeah. I bumped into a youth the other day. I said, right, where you been? I says, I'm at Oxford. I said, swear that? I said, yeah, I made it to Oxford.
Yeah.
And I says, why are we not celebrating this?
That's dope.
Yeah.
Because you know what, more time, the people that are doing what they're doing, they just get on with it. I just get like,
I don't expect him to celebrate it, but I want us to celebrate it for him.
we don't know, they don't know. Like, more time, people don't even know half the things I've done because
Well, that's what I was actually going to
to
say before when we was talking about the things that we should celebrate, because half the time we don't know.
We don't know, man.
Like with people that want
But
to,
we make it our
that,
business
like-
and all the negative stuff, though.
That's easy accessible though. You have to understand.
but
You're
like
on the
people
net.
that become like barristers and judges and flipping, I don't know, athletes or whatever, like, or whatever it may be, property developers. You know, one of my best mates is a property developer, but like, unless you knew him, you just wouldn't really know what he did. So
I hear you.
You know, so we've all said before, like, we should be we should be doing this and we should be doing that. But the reality is, half the time, the people that do stuff that is not so much glamorized, other than music, other than things that we see on the TV, the other stuff we don't celebrate as much because we don't know.
I celebrate all of my friends on my Instagram all the time. It could be something small. I will celebrate it all the time. I love my friends, I can't lie. If they do sick stuff, I have to celebrate it. Chucky, you could go and get, I don't know, some type of qualification, something, and you could think it's small. We're going out, we're having a drink, we're celebrating it.
Yeah,
That's how I naturally am anyway. I think it's sick.
What, like, is, you know, see like in the schools now, yeah, that you've worked in, do you see like a big knife problem in them? Do you know what, actually? You told me about some time about, like, what was it? Some parent that, like, let some youths, they were bunking or something.
Yeah. There's a parent who, because she wanted to be the cool mum, she allowed her daughter to bunk school, but allowed her friends to come to the yard and just chill there for the whole day. And then there was a snap in it. And so we were like,
and they were snapping it.
They're snapping it. So obviously
That's
their friends,
the difference now.
Their friends at school were like, oh, look, so-and-so's bunking. And it was like, so when you speak to the parents, it's like, well, why would you allow this? And it's like, well, it's better that they're here with me when I know where they are.
What about the parents of the kids that are there, though?
She ain't thinking about that. She's thinking about being a cool mum.
What happens when you tell the parents, yeah, that you've seen a certain particular picture of the daughter?
I've had to sit down with a parent and go for a phone with their child skin out, and that was the most awkwardest moment I think I've ever had in my life. Because obviously, some parents like to believe that their kids are a certain way, innit? If I'm telling you that they're not, and you're not believing me,
it's different when you've actually got photo evidence.
I have to then say, actually, no, this is her, innit? And then that's when you can see the shames hit them. And that's not a I told you so moment. That's a, how do we prepare this young person? How do we prepare this young person so that they're not in the same vulnerable situation moving forward? And fortunately, in this instance, we managed to build up her self-confidence, build up her awareness, so she's not manipulated or mentally abused, so that she wouldn't be in this sort of situation to move forward. And I see that as a success, but it's a very daunting task because if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what to say. I couldn't even tell you what to say. I kind of just went with it in the moment because it's like, you know, this is your daughter.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. Sex in school and that has always been a thing, but I just think that it has just got way too normalized right now, boy. I think what you said before is that you had you had like one or two loose ones, you know what I mean, that you knew that was about this thing or whatnot, but like it weren't a large percentage of the school. And to be totally honest, bruv, I mean, I went to
It was
school
generally
a long
just the
time
cool kids, really.
Huh?
It was generally just the cool kids, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
But you know what the thing
everybody.
is, yeah? Like, and I know this is just me. I know I went to school quite a long time ago. But the way that some of these youths are backing out their sausage is mental to me. Because when I was young, yeah, that was a terrifying experience. I'm just going to back this thing out. That's mental to me. They're just doing it. They are just doing it. Batteries left, right, and center. That is crazy to me.
Isn't it?
Do you know how crazy that is? No, seriously. There's youths in year 8 batterying a gal. Do you know how? No, like, please, really deep that for a minute.
That's happening.
I
Batterying.
don't even know if I could do that now, you know.
Oh, you haven't batteried
No,
before?
never.
Okay.
I have spoken to people about it though.
Stop it.
Don't look it over here. Just leave me alone.
Can I have a t-shirt? Can I have a t-shirt?
I kind of thought you might say that, you know. You're mad.
Oh,
It's
you
Swedish,
was
isn't
a
it?
t-shirt.
Jordan,
Okay.
Jordan
You
juice.
was.
Danish. Yeah, get me one.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
What? So the back. So
yeah.
that's funny.
Double A or triple A?
I'm not. You know, this is not that type of conversation. But you know what though? Like, nah. Like batterying wasn't. That was quite later on though.
Do you know what? If I'm totally honest, in school there was obviously some active girls.
Yeah.
I can't recall any batteries in school.
There was neck.
I
And
can.
It was
hand
a
job,
bit of neck, yeah, a bit of hand
hand
job.
job and a finger.
Not in North
supply
London.
teachers used to
Yeah,
get.
your
Okay,
thing's separate.
we know that your thing's set differently.
Mad
But we're
over
talking from
there.
we know, like, obviously that was one of the first things you said. North London's crazy.
North
We all
London's
know
different.
that. But I'm just talking more from a
general.
yeah, but not even just my school, but just like schools of like some
In
of my
general,
friends or
yeah.
my cousins or.
You're
do you
more
get what I'm
likely to
saying?
hear that the year 11s are doing a thing with supply teachers or with teachers.
Yeah. I remember that actually. That was actually
was
more of
pretty
a
normal.
thing.
Man
Yeah, it's
said
That
year
was more
11s
of a
are
thing. Like you would hear
supply
like.
teachers, you know.
Yeah. That was happening. That was happening.
Now
That
I see
was
why
happening.
my mum sent me to a school.
But it
off
wasn't.
ends.
Huh? No, that was happening. No, there was dudes that there was youths that were macking the supply teacher or something like that. Yeah, there was a lot of that going on. But yeah, like year 8's battery and doing all of that type of stuff is just.
They're trying too hard to be grown, man.
Yeah,
they're doing what they think what grown people do all the time.
Yeah.
Like they think that this is just life.
Did any of them chat to you about it?
Some of them do, but I have to say to them that bear in mind that if you tell me something that's a bit left, I have to report it. So be careful what you're saying to me, because like if you're a year 11 boy, for example, and you're 16. And you're troubling someone who's in year 9. In your mind, you're just all in school, innit? But that's actually statutory rape.
Oh shit!
Because you're now 16. Even if you're in year 10 and she's in year 9, you've been going out for 2 years, and then you turn 16. Before you were both under 16, but now you're over 16. Statutory rape. Now nothing's gonna happen, and the parents generally know that they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's all kind of cool and all the rest of it. But you still have to be careful with what you say. So I say to them all the time. We're cool and we can talk, but we can't talk about everything.
Yeah. You have to set up barriers.
And this was the first mistake I made when I was working with young people. I tried to be their friend first. Didn't work. Because when it's time to lay down the law and be strict and set boundaries, it's on a jokey thing, innit? And if you think about a friendship, if your friend all of a sudden just tries to badge you up out of nowhere, you're gonna retaliate to that because that's not the dynamics of this. How this works. Yeah. So now, listen, I'm ruthless with it. I am not your brethren. I expect to hear a sir at the end or yes or pardon. Don't and don't what me. It's yes, sir. And I'm so rigid with it. We can run joke, but always remember that as a minimum, innit? So it's different.
Fucking hell, bro.
It's definitely a learning curve. Man said supply teachers though. Jeez.
Yeah, there was a supply teacher, some Australian girl. She was getting battered in my school by some guy called Devaro.
You know what? It's a good thing Facebook and them things they weren't around back then.
One drove me home.
Really? That's why you're my guy.
Talking the things.
He drove her in somewhere. He really drove her crazy. My G, you know.
She had Dro. She had Dro in the classroom.
She had Dro.
Yeah, she was. This. I don't.
Do you know how?
You know what?
Do you know how
it
much
sounds
teachers
mad.
could get done right now if people was on this? Like, you know, like right now, people are coming out and talking about all of their past and how they've
think about it though. You can be a qualified teacher at 22.
Okay.
So when I was
in, see something 16.
Not me, but when I was in school, far as I was concerned, a teacher was an old person who's been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But now you can actually go college, go uni, and be a qualified teacher at 22. So then the age gap to them now is a lot shorter. So they're looking at this thing and thinking, yo, Mrs. Buff.
And you know what? And a lot of the young girls, not even young girls, but young
people
some of them look a lot older than you would expect them to. You get what I'm saying? Like all physical attributes and all of these things and that. Like, bruv, I don't know, bro. And maybe it was my school was just different, but there was like only a couple gal in my school that had big breasts, really. You know what I mean? Bum. It was not that. It wasn't like this. It wasn't like this. Now these kids are like, my cousin showed me his girl. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. He's a young don, but I could not believe it. No. It was like, what is this?
Where were they when I was 14?
They're like this. Jesus Christ, my brother. I said, fucking hell, boy. Just wear a dumb. That's what you can do. Because I can't tell him don't have sex and don't do that. He's going to do what he wants to do. And at the end of the day, it's a school and that's going to happen. So all I can do is just tell him, bro, just be safe. Just, you know what I mean?